Communities that make the best use of data, like Lincoln, use it to identify and prioritize issues that really matter to their city. The 2017 Lincoln Vital Signs Report features more than 10 years of accumulated data that works to provide a shared understanding of our city, both the strengths and challenges. By sharing these findings, we hope to inform and inspire us all to take action in making Lincoln even stronger. Our community profile has certainly evolved over the last 10 years. Lincoln added more than 50,000 people to its neighborhoods. And while our largest age group remains 20 to 44-year-olds, our fastest growing groups are our youngest and oldest. Our great city is also becoming more diverse, showing significant growth in our non-white population when compared to white alone. Lincoln has made numerous improvements to our economy and workforce. While many cities in the nation have higher unemployment rates, Lincoln regularly has one of the lowest rates in the United States. Plus, over the last 10 years, the dollar value of commercial builds occurring in our city has nearly doubled. And the number of patents filed by Lincoln residents has been on the rise. However, making ends meet to fulfill basic needs has been a challenge for many in our community. Even though over the past 10 years our poverty has gotten worse, and now we're on a trend for better, there are still more than 9,000 children living in poverty in Lincoln. There are also fewer neighborhoods in extreme poverty than 10 years ago. However, to put it in perspective, in the year 2000, there were 0. Education matters in Lincoln. Over the last 10 years, enrollment in our public schools has continued to grow. And the numbers show that people with a high school diploma are less likely to experience poverty later in life. In fact, the more education attained, the lower the poverty rate. Lincoln Vital Signs is intended to inform conversations, spark connections, and spur action. Be informed, then get involved in the Prosper Lincoln Community Agenda. How will you step up?
Is Lincoln prospering? This year, as we release Lincoln Vital Signs 2017, we have over 10 years of data to answer that question. Lincoln Vital Signs provides a barometer of how we're prospering and who is prospering. This decade of data includes the Great Recession, and this is a time when more than half of all of Americans lost a job or saw a cut in pay or wages or hours. A time when household wealth declined on average 20%. Today, the U.S. economy has returned to its pre-recession size, but wages have stagnated. So, how is Lincoln prospering? Our city is also experiencing positive recovery from the recession, but we are also experiencing disparities in prosperity. Our unemployment rate is now even lower than it was in 2005. The average household has nearly recovered its previous income level. The average work hours are very close to pre-recession levels. A decade ago, we had 6 neighborhoods in extreme poverty. Today, we have 5, and those are neighborhoods where more than 40% of the population lives below the poverty level. The rate of adults that are insured is now nearly 90%. Construction has rebounded well past pre-recession levels, and the number of patents filed has increased dramatically. Overall, Lincoln is doing better than most cities in the United States. But not everyone in Lincoln is sharing equally. We are seeing a worrying trend of increased disparities. For example, higher income households have experienced greater income gains than lower income households. The number of people working full-time and living in poverty has doubled in our community. Nearly 40,000 individuals, representing about 15% of our population, live below the poverty threshold. And this is one statistic where Lincoln fares worse than the U.S. as a whole. Most of those in poverty in our community are white, non-Hispanic, non-Latino. That's about 13% of our white population that lives in poverty. But the rate is 20% for Hispanic Latinos, and it is 30% for Black African Americans. Unemployment is also higher for those representing racial and ethnic minority groups. Hispanic Latinos have averaged about 4 percentage points higher, and Black African Americans have averaged 7 percentage points higher. The number of children in Lincoln Public Schools participating in free and reduced lunch over the last decade has doubled, and this now represents about half of our district population. Why does this matter? It matters because children in poverty and those from racial and ethnic minority groups fare worse than our white population, starting from the first testing in 3rd grade all the way through to graduation. When comparing the graduation rates of the entire population of the district, Black African American students trail by an average of 10%, Hispanic Latino students by 11%, and Native American students by 21%. This perpetuates challenges since we know that poverty among the population without a high school diploma is 30%. And this number is worse than before the recession. In fact, those with a high school diploma and an associate's degree or some college is also worse than before the recession. In Lincoln, we have a lot of working families, and most families stretch to pay for child care in our community. That's care for while the parents are at work and also to help their children get a good start. But it actually costs more to send a young child to a Lincoln Center-based facility than it costs to send a student to the University of Nebraska, and this straps our families. Another interesting finding, the Community Health Endowment calculates, based on these and other data, that there is as much as a 20-year gap in life expectancy depending on where you live in Lincoln. So what we're seeing is a story of two Lincolns, one that is prospering and has rebounded from the recession, and another that is struggling to an even greater extent. If I've piqued your interest in these data, please go to lincolnvitalsigns.org to download the entire report. And it's about 100 pages of more information about how Lincoln is doing, lots of charts and graphs. And you can also see that video again. I challenge you all today to find your way to get involved in our community agenda to help us close the gap and make Lincoln a prosperous city like no other. Now, I'd like to bring up Mayor Beitler and thank him for his ongoing support of this effort.
Hey everybody, how you doing today? Pretty good? I am delighted to see you all because when I see you all out there, I feel the strength of the city. I look around, I see all the faces, I see our department heads, I see people from the private sector, I see people from the nonprofit sector, and I see hundreds of people who have formed and reformed and metamorphosized into different groups to help with different problems in the community. And you have been wildly successful these last 10 years. And I hope that you will continue your vigilance with regard to the issues that we have to deal with and conquer to continue to make this an ever greater city. I want to thank the governor for being here today. State support for the municipalities is a tremendously important thing. I want to thank him for the cooperation of the state agencies with the efforts that are going on with Prosper Lincoln. It has been significant. I really appreciated, of course, all of the good things he had to say about Lincoln and leadership in Lincoln and the people of Lincoln. And I hope that doesn't mean he's interested in running for mayor of Lincoln next time around. But it's important to note today the role of Prosper Lincoln and the fact that Prosper Lincoln is filling in some gaps with regard to the shaping of the city, that it's really, really critical that these gaps be addressed. And it's critical to the advancement of the city that these gaps be addressed. Prosper Lincoln has helped us to focus on 3 critical areas, and they've been mentioned once, but I want to be sure that you keep them firmly in mind so that you might know how you might help with respect to one or more of these areas. But the focus through the process of sorting through all of the ideas that were submitted, of course, the 3 areas of focus were early childhood education and job skills and innovation in entrepreneurs. Those are not just the 3 main agendas for Prosper Lincoln. These are also 3 critical keys to keeping our whole city thriving and providing the high quality of life for all residents going forward into the future. It is very difficult sometimes to accept change. It is very difficult sometimes to discern good change from bad change, especially in these times today when the pace of change is so accelerated and so sophisticated and so complicated. And it is paramount that groups of intelligent citizens help the city and help the nonprofits and help the private sector sort through change. Therein lies the secret to our success, choosing good change, rejecting bad change. Henry Ford said that coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. I believe if the great industrialist was alive today and looking at our community, he would say that we are indeed already a success. We are working together on a common vision for Lincoln, and Prosper Lincoln is one of the most important tools to help us reach our goals. The work of Prosper Lincoln is making our city even better by focusing on data-driven community agendas. And I want to use this opportunity to say very emphatically that the city continues to be in full support of the goals of this effort. One small example of recent cooperation is our Lincoln Public Libraries. There at those sites where we are partnering now with Prosper Lincoln to help people find jobs that lead to full-time careers. And this is just the beginning of one of many projects. So with that, I'm going to stop. There's so much more information to provide you, but thank you for allowing me to address you for a few minutes, and enjoy the remaining presentations. Thank you.